Hi, in this slide, I want to talk about the transition stage, where once we start to move along and try to do new stuff, what's going to happen? And to a certain degree, this is easy to sensationalize or be very sort of poetic about. But I think, again, if we push the wheel of learning and we design our experiments very well, so they're very small, cheap, fast, failing forward kind of things, and we don't try to eat the whole elephant with one bite, a lot of this stuff doesn't come to pass. In theory, if you look at people doing acrobatics up there in the air with no safety net, and a guy swings up and he turns around, the other trapeze is supposed to be there. There's an instant in time where the aerial artist is blind and just hopes that, boy, the other uh, bar swing has been timed just perfectly and it's there. So it creates that sense of anxiety. Or maybe Linus in the Phoenix comic strip, his blanket every once in a while has to be washed and put in the dryer, and he's like, "Oh my God, what am I doing with my blanket? Can I get through this transition period?" Um, People make sort of wax poetic about the old is dying and the new isn't born. Remember, distribution is hub economics. We break big bulky stuff down into small assorted parts and ship it out. Uh, it's as long as gravity exists and we can tune how we do our hub economics to precision supply chain solutions for important customers. We're apt to have a business, and some things are sort of irreplaceable. So it isn't like we're changing the whole thing, going from VHS to DVD to streaming. There's still a lot of the old that's always going to be there. I will say that it's biblical that Moses had to wander in the wilderness for a number of years, because in theory, if you have a generation of people living in slavery, they don't know how to live in freedom, and the next generation grows up. Or Einstein went to his death still believing that quantum physics didn't exist because God didn't play with dice. And Heisenberg said, well, really, we don't expect established theoretical physicists to embrace quantum physics. The next generation will just grow up with it, in a sense. Um, so these are grand transition kinds of stories. I will say, though, that when we first start doing stuff we haven't done before, we don't we're not good at it, so we don't know how to turn around and teach it, out of the box cookbook how to. So there are no or low rules for how to do this perfectly, and we have lots of questions. So it does allow for a lot of creativity, but again, we're going to express that creativity through trying lots of cheap small experiments. And really, I see change more as sort of like, if that transition stage, it's kind of rings of a tree. We sort of try something, and then we get a little bit better and a little bit better. It's kind of like, okay, we're going to take on a new sport, and I start with my white belt, and then I get my yellow belt, and then my green belt, and so forth, all the way to black belt 1, 2, 3, 4. At some point, we're saying, okay, we're on the consolidating end of things, and we're going to crystallize and systematize and scale sort of black belt capability in a new way. So don't get overblown or carried away with, the big scary transition stage, because the truth of the matter is, I think we've got tools and a basic kind of business, that is distribution channels, hub economics, where it doesn't have to be that scary or that dramatic at all. Thank you.